So, hello everyone. I think it's time, so I'm just gonna get started. Welcome everybody. Come on, welcome everybody. Yes, thank you. I came all the way from South Limburg, so a little bit enthusiasm, please. Thank you. So there are people watching in the Belgium Global AI Bootcamp right now, so we've set up a little stream. Hopefully it keeps up, and yeah, so this is what I'll be talking about today. Who in here is developers? Okay. Oh, good. Well, almost everybody, so that's good. And I will be talking mostly about cognitive services. I am more of a mobile Xamarin developer kind of guy. But of course, I don't just build apps, I do all kinds of stuff with Azure, and especially AI in apps can be very useful. So I have some very non-useful examples of how you can use these awesome cognitive services in your app, and hopefully it will inspire you to do some more useful stuff with it. Come on, there we go. So AI is the latest hype in software development land, so it seems. If you look at the Gartner hype cycle, this one is already a bit old, it's from July 2017. But they measure like where are certain techniques in a certain area in the hype cycle. They can probably research this much better than I can. But if you look at this, then you see all kinds of virtual assistants and augmented reality. Of course, that's upstairs. Deep learning, so all kinds of AI stuff is high up in the hype cycle, and yeah, are hip and happening right now. But AI is not new. I mean, already back in the 1950s, people were working with AI, or at least thinking or laying the ground layers for what AI is today, especially by this guy, Alan Turing. And he is, of course, the ultra genius, awesome mathematician who built the Enigma machine, which helped us, in the war. And already he, in his later work, he also did more research and papers on AI and laid the foundation on what we use as AI today. What he also did was come up with the Turing test, which boils down to this basically. It's a bit more complicated than this, hopefully. But what it does is like put a person on one end of the wall, and on the other end of the wall you have a person. It starts out with a person, and then halfway through the process the person is swapped out with a computer, an AI, and whenever a person cannot tell the difference of who he is talking to, then of course you're talking through a machine, because if there's some kind of voice thing, then you will know. But if the person on the left end cannot tell if it's a computer or a person, then the Turing test has passed. I don't know why the lights are coming on, but okay. So yeah, that's already something that he thought about, and I think this was cracked a few years ago. So yeah, we're going to be in trouble. Also the Dartmouth project, which is a project group in the UK from a university. They created this whole white paper and basically defined AI as a field as we know it today. Dartmouth project, there it is. Also from this paper, they have basically defined like 5 sections or categories or whatever you want to call it of what AI is. So yeah, you have a thing with knowledge, so it can tie together entities, papers, it can search. I think Henk, our organizer, has created an awesome webpage for this, where you can just search for an entity. So you can say, in what year is Mother's Day on whenever, and it will search that for you, so that he knows what you mean and where to find it. Also perception, so seeing things, not just observing. I mean, a webcam can see something, but it doesn't understand what it's seeing. So also interpreting and telling you what is to be seen in that picture. We'll be seeing some of that today. Also language, so that's something that is happening today, that is in a new hype cycle, I think. So we have all these voice assistants. I have my house full of Google Homes. So I can just say, hey Google, turn on the lights, or show me the front door because I also have a camera, and I can say close the curtains or do something else yet. I'm working on it. But yeah, so and also they're not just understanding simple voice commands, but also interpreting what you're actually saying, understanding the intent of what you're trying to do, and do something with that. So it's not just keywords, but you can say one day, hey Google, turn on the lights, and the next day you can say, hey Google, lights, and it will also understand that you want to turn on the lights. Although Google has implemented, and I think Amazon as well, that if you say please, then it will say, oh, thank you, it will be nicer to you. So it kind of motivates you to be a nicer person. Problem solving and planning, so including navigation, and also I have this problem and how to get around it, how can I solve it, and reasoning, so why does it have to do something. And when it can do all this, then we're in trouble, then machines are going to think for themselves and they're going to take over the world. That's basically what everyone is afraid of, right? And the worst thing is we're actually helping this AI to take over the world. Because, yeah, I mean, you've probably saw these things. Well, not this actual one, I think. I think this is fabricated, I'm not sure. But yeah, you get these CAPTCHAs and it says like, hey, I'm not a robot. But what it actually does is just, it knows from 3 of the images. It started out with numbers on your front door, I think, the house numbers. But now it's bridges or cars or bicycles. And from 3 images, it already knows that there's a bicycle on it. But the 4th image, you are telling the AI, like, hey, there's a bicycle on it. And that trains the AI models from Google. So Microsoft has probably something in place for this as well, for the cognitive services. And also the Google duplex demo a while ago. That's the thing that can make a appointment at a restaurant for you. People seen that? Yeah. Okay, that's scary shit, right? Okay, so that's no. I'm trying. I like to make fun of the fact that robots are going to take over, but it's not going to happen soon. But what Google Duplex is, for the people not raised their hands, maybe in Belgium because I can't see your hands. Sorry. It has gone so far that it just is. So I'm sorry. It's not just the voice assistant, so we can't just tell them what we want. But now also Google has invented some kind of assistant that can call a restaurant for you. And there was this whole conversation going on like, hey, I want to book a table. And the waiter said, okay, when? Well, then and then. And okay, hold on, I'll see if I have a table available. And the AI even goes like, what? Okay, so it pretends to be an actual person and can be your actual assistant in booking appointments. Google Duplex, look it up. It's amazing stuff. But also you can quickly go over to some kind of gray area. This is Dutch, so if you don't read Dutch, I'm sorry. But what you see happening here is you have this advertisement thing board going on, and someone was looking up to it. I don't know why you would do that, but there was a tiny hole in the top of it, and there was a camera in there that was registering who was in front of it. So probably not really registering like, hey, this is Gerald, but it is registering like, hey, it's a male, he is 30 years old, and he is looking happy. Okay, maybe not happy in this particular case, but you know, they were trying to extract all kinds of data, and probably they can if you take the law strictly. But yeah, it's not really ethical to do this, of course. But you can use it for some more fun examples. There was an event a couple of years ago by, Troy Hunt was speaking, the security expert. And they actually used this, it is basically the monitor that we have in the hall right here. You could stand in front of it and it would recognize you because you had uploaded a single image whenever you signed up, only if you wanted to. And then you could retrieve your badge that you were an attendee by just scanning your face, and it would print out your ticket automatically because it would recognize you from that single image. That was built with cognitive services, actually, so that was pretty impressive. But yeah, if you take it a step further, does anyone know Black Mirror? This particular episode where you can, this is all about all your social interactions will be rated. So if I talk to you, I can rate 5 stars, or if I don't like you, no, I like you. I don't like you, then, sorry. Nothing personal. Then I give you 1 star, and you have this global rating going on, and whenever it gets down to something, then you can't go to your favorite restaurant, or you can't open a bank account, or you cannot do, well, something that's only for the higher rated people. But this is actually going on right now in China. They will fully implement it in 2020. They already have millions of cameras. They can spot whenever you cross the road through a red sign, and your rating will go down, and you cannot go with the public transport anymore. So that's pretty scary stuff. There was a funny bug in it because there was a very famous actress who had her face on the side of a bus, and she was going all over the place doing all kinds of stupid things like crossing the road and whatever. They were like, what's going on? She wasn't even there, but yeah, she had her face on the side of a bus. So. They have some bugs in there, but also I hope this never gets to any of our countries, because that would be not good. So you're probably going like, whoa, this is okay, I'm overwhelmed by all of this, but AI right now is not, well, we can do all this stuff, but we're probably not going to in the near future. So what are some more practical usages? Like I said, I am a mobile developer. So yeah, why is a mobile device very suitable for AI? Well, I think it's very suitable because, for one, if you want to input things in your mobile app, you can use all the help that you can get, except auto-suggest, because that sucks all the time. But you know, if you can just take an image of something and it will extract data out of it, that will help you tremendously in filling out big forms that you don't want to be doing on a mobile phone. But also it has all the sensors that you need to do this. I mean, it has a camera, it has a keyboard, it has a microphone so it can talk back to you, it has a screen to tell you things. So it basically has all the sensors that you need to input or output to some kind of AI system. So Microsoft Cognitive Services, if you were here for the session before me, then you saw this lovely girl from Microsoft, I don't know her name, say something like, it's not only for people who have a PhD, so that's me, I don't have a PhD and I still want to use some of the AI things. And Microsoft Cognitive Services is something I can understand. This is just a system where I can send my request to with an image and I can say to it like, what is on this? And it will return something to me in a format that I can parse, and it will tell me like, hey, I can see, I don't know, a dog or a cat or whatever. And here you can see, I think this might be a bit outdated because they have updated it and it's Azure, so it goes pretty fast. But they have these 5 categories again, and if you see and think back to a couple of slides back, then you can see the different AI sections in here as well. There are about 25 APIs right now, I think. Some were merged together, some were taken apart. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, this just has standard models for you to use, so it's pretty generic, but it helps you get started very fast. So it doesn't tell you which dog you're looking at. It's not a golden retriever or a Labrador or what you have more, but it will tell you that it's a dog, right? So, and maybe in the case of dogs, it will do it, but not for plants or whatever. You have the possibility to create custom models and all kinds of advanced things, like machine learning service you have now or something like that. There's probably other people who will talk about that, but yeah, I just focus on the simple stuff. So if we look a bit deeper, I won't read them all to you. Computer vision will tell you whatever is on the image, so click, hey, it's a dog. You have the face API and the emotion API. Ooh, I have to do this because the people in Belgium can see this, and this is a really expensive clicker, and I can do this. So here's the face API and the emotion API. I think they merged these two because it didn't really make much sense. One tells you everything about the face, so the eyes are here, the tip of the nose is here, where your mouth points. It gives you a whole lot of points of where things are in your face. Also, if you are wearing makeup or glasses or whatever. And the emotion API would simply tell you he looks happy, he looks sad, and it has kind of the 7 basic emotions, or what is it, 7, 8? So they decided somewhere to merge them together. If you want to do computer vision but then advanced, then you have the custom vision service. I think it's out of preview right now. So then you can train your own model. So you can upload images to there and you can start distinguishing those separate kinds of dogs if you want to. Same for speech. So speech, of course, has nice possibilities for translation and that kind of stuff. They're really going fast there as well. I think you have some live translation services, so you can now put on your headphones and someone can talk Japanese to me and I can talk back. They had to wear headphones as well, probably. But then it just live streams the audio to the cognitive services and gives you back the translation in real time. So that's pretty awesome. Also, what you see happening is with a lot of Microsoft sessions, I think it's in PowerPoint by default right now, is a plugin that will just real time subtitle this everything that I'm saying here. So with the whole diversity and inclusion stuff, if you are blind, well, blind wouldn't help. If you're deaf, then you can still follow along, and you can even connect the app there is for it to it, so you can read it right here instead of there. So there's all kinds of possibilities there as well. Language. So Lewis is, of course, probably the most famous here. That's well, not the actual cognitive services one, but this is what is in your voice assistants. Like this takes out the intent of your the things that you're saying to it. Hier. Oh. Moet je even daarachter kijken en dan kijken of je op. Daar staat een knopje rechts onderin, stop stream, en dan moet je hem nog een keer starten, maar ik kan het niet beloven. Okay, I'm just going to continue here. So here's the Azure portal, and you can just create a resource, and it will probably pop up right here. No, not yet. Okay, so you can just search here for cognitive services. There we go. And then you can just go into this and create a new resource for that. And you can just get started. I already did that, so you don't want to watch me fill in forms here. So what I did is set up a custom or a computer vision service already. And yeah, if you get to the quick start page, it will just tell you literally what I did, like grab your keys. So if you get in here, you will get 2 API keys for you to use. And then you can start doing API calls to this endpoint, basically. You can go here to the API reference, which will take you back to a Swagger page. So you could test the calls from right here. You can see what is available, analyze the image, describe the image, get a thumbnail. You have all kinds of resizing things. It will determine what the important part of the image is, and it can resize it for you, that kind of stuff. And if you go down here, if you go down here, you can see all the parameters that you can use. So it can tell you the categories, tags, a description, where the faces in the images are. Well, the image type is more of metadata like JPEG, PNG, that kind of stuff. And it can also tell you, like, does it have adult content? So you can also use this to filter out, or maybe, yeah, if you just want the adult content, I don't know. Then you can just use this as some kind of content filter. So for instance, Facebook could use this to not have actual persons scan the content, but at least make a filtering here and mark the ones with adult or something else, and only then have someone look at it. It could even tell you celebrities or landmarks, so I can also point it at the Eiffel Tower and it will tell you it's the Eiffel Tower, or you can put it at Satya Nadella and it will tell you that. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. And what I did is turn it into an Azure function, because Azure functions are awesome. And with that, basically this is all the code you need, and this is even much more code to do some fancy stuff. But what I do is here get my API key, my endpoint. You always have to specify the endpoint because your cognitive services can live around the world, of course, in all the Azure geolocations. That's why you have to specify the endpoint specifically. Then you can I've installed the NuGet for this. So you can create a service client which you feed with the key and the URI. And I just want to get back the tags. And I made it possible to do it through a post, so I can stream an image to it, or through a get, so I can feed it a URL and it will retrieve that URL and determine from there if something is a hot dog or not. And then it will give me the results. So while testing this, something funny was going on. Sometimes I got hot dog as 2 separate words, sometimes as 1 word. So it would give me some false positives. So I decided to just do hot and dog, and if they're both in there, then it's a hot dog. So this is kind of a hacky way. I'm not sure, maybe they've updated this, but yeah. So here is my Azure function, which isn't working, as you can see. That's because the URL is still empty. So I needed some test data, and Wikipedia has everything. So here is a tasty hot dog. Luckily you just had one, so you don't get hangry on me. And if I put the URL in here, I will get a plain old JSON object back. And you can see it will tell you is hot dog is true. And you can also see, see it's still here, hot and dog, and hot dog as well. So this has got everything. You can see the tags that it got back from the Azure Cognitive Service. And it's, well, this is actually my own JSON object, but if you would inspect the raw one, it would look very similar. So I packed this into an app, which then isn't much more than calling another REST API. And of course, I'm using Xamarin and cameras and that kind of stuff, so I had to implement some code to take a photo and then just call this same Azure function and retrieve the JSON object and say if it's a hot dog or not. Now, I should have done this before. Let me quickly see if I can get this to work. I think I need a screen recording. Always get confused. No. Then it's a movie recording. Hello. But from my iPhone. Okay, good. So, yep. I got the app right here. And I'm a brilliant designer, so it's very minimalistic. And at the bottom I have a take photo, so here you can see all the audience. Hello, say hello to Belgium. Hey, yeah, okay, good. So one thing I just need is a hot dog. And the first time I did this session, I took out an actual hot dog, but afterwards I thought like, yeah, that's wasteful and I don't want to do that. So I went to the Dutch equivalent of eBay and I got this squishy hot dog thing. For if I wanted to do this session more times. So let's just see if we can get this, not too much clutter on here. Take a picture, use it, send it over to my Azure function right now. I also did not implement any activity loaders because who needs those? And it's a hot dog, yes, okay. So to prove you that this gentleman is not a hot dog and I didn't hard code all this, oops. It's not a hot dog, keep looking. Okay, so that's how easy it is to use this stuff. So another thing you could do, I already mentioned the content moderation. So let's pretend that we have created our own social network thing. This is, you can see this is not created by me, this is created by one of the Microsoft Cloud Developer Advocates, Jim Bennett, who took a little more time than me. And it allows you to filter out content. So what I wanted to do is not allow any duck faces on my social media. I mean, we hate them, right? So what I wanted to do is train my own model to get him to know duck faces and block them from posting on our social media. So whenever I press this button now here and I do this and I go like, this doesn't always work. So the disclaimer. And I post this, then hopefully it will tell me that I cannot do this because it looks horrible. Oh, it has been posted. Well, so I try one more time. Oops. Oh, come on, retake. Just because I look dumb. Come on, come on. Yes, okay. So duck face is not allowed. So what I had to do here is create my own model. So again, this is a bit more advanced, but still very easy to do. You go to Custom Vision AI, although I believe it's part of Azure now as well. So check that out for yourself. And then you create your project here, just say new project, and you can already specify a name, a description, and you can say, okay, what do you want to do? Classification. So what I'm doing here is basically the same as the hot dog, not hot dog, and you can have massive amounts of tags, of course, so you can do it with the type of dogs or whatever you want. But what I'm just doing right now is saying something is a duck face or not a duck face. So that's classification. You can also do object detection, which is detect one or multiple objects within one image. So what I could do is detect if there are one or multiple duck faces in this single image. So multi-class, multi-label, and the important thing here is the domains. So this would probably be a general, but if you choose another one, so if you're doing things with food or landmarks, you might want to do that one, and it already knows some stuff to look for. So your model will be more specific to this domain. Also, you have a few here that are marked compact. If you want to use these models directly on your mobile app, I mean, this goes through the REST API and back. So one, you need to be online. Two, that is latency. If you want to use it on the actual device, you can. You have to choose one of the compact ones, and you can just say, okay, export this model. You will get a file. You can run it in a Docker container in your app. Well, anything that knows this format, basically. And what you then do, I already did that, of course, is spend a awkward afternoon teaching this thing like what's a duck face or not. And I actually learned from Henk that this is totally wrong because I have the same background each time. So that's why my model isn't perfect, because it will also classify the background now. So because it doesn't see these old curtains from the previous homeowners. Right here, probably there was this false positive at the first time. But you can see, yeah, you have to upload some images and do some weird things. And then tag them with, yeah, what is a duck face or not a duck face. But it's really impressive. I mean, I have 25 images right here, and it already tells me pretty specifically, pretty precisely which is a duck face or which is not. You can also have a look at the performance, like how is it doing, and you can have different iterations. So you have this train button up here. Each time you add new images, you have to train it. And you can see it will have some data in here, like how good the precision and the recall is. And I have here this iteration 3, which is the default, because this was the best one I could create at the time. But you can use this separate iterations, each with a different URL. And the default URL will just be the one that you mark as default. You can get that here with the prediction URL. But with this, you can start trying to improve your model without having to change the URL in your production app or whatever you might use this for. Okay, so that's what you can do with this. Quickly, because I only have 45 minutes. Oops, you don't see the... Ah, here we go. I have one more nice app. This will show you the actual raw JSON things coming back. So here we have the face and the emotion API. So the emotion will just tell you maybe this even stopped working because they merged it with the face API. I'm not sure. Doesn't seem to do much anyway, besides making me look stupid. So let's see the face API. Ah, here we go. So here you can see underneath the JSON that I got back from this face. So the first thing you will see is that there is a face ID. So each face will get assigned a GUID, a unique ID. And what you can do with this, if you're using the face ID specifically, you can also start recognizing persons. So what you can do is send images up into the cloud. It's basically the thing that I mentioned earlier with the event registration. So you upload just one image basically, and you say, who is this? You give it a name. You can have multiple images if you want to. And then from that, you can start sending in random images, and it can tell you like, hey, which person is this? Or of course, I don't know this person. If you start doing that, of course, all kinds of privacy concerns and I think the faces, of course, that you send into the cloud, like, and you're tagging them, like, hey, this is Gerald and whatever, those will, of course, be stored. So there's some kind of small print somewhere that you're going to agree with, but the faces that you are sending randomly to check with, I think those will be saved for 24 hours or something, and then deleted. But it will tell you, like, the top left width height of where the image is in the image. My head is pretty square, if I can see this. Width and height is the same. So, and it will also tell you face attributes. So I'm not smiling. My head pose, is it pitched, jawed, rolled, whatever. Gender, male. Phew. Age, 32. That's very accurate. Facial hair, that's also very accurate. No glasses, blur. So you can no eye makeup and lip makeup. Luckily, I didn't do that this morning. 0.9 bold, okay. So it tells you all kinds of details that you do or do not want to know. But you can use this for all kinds of cool things. I think this is not even all of it. There is a funny thing here. It doesn't tell you just the glasses, no glasses. As you can see, this is an enum value. I've seen a session on where they had a camera set up by the entrance of the event. And there was a small sign, like if you walk past this, you give your authorization to do this. Nobody noticed, of course. But there was all kinds of data coming in because there was, I don't know, 1,000 attendees. And it started giving some glasses, like yes glasses, no glasses, but also a type of glasses. So there was one person coming in wearing swimming goggles. I don't think they actually were wearing that, so it was a false positive, but there is apparently support for detecting swimming goggles, so just so you know. Okay, so maybe some more useful use cases. So yeah, the example I actually already mentioned, emotion detection at retail displays. But yeah, express that you are doing that. But far more importantly, things like facial identification to find missing children or persons in general, sentiment analysis to learn how customers feel, and actually the last one here at the bottom right, object detection to enable a blind person to read a menu. Microsoft really took this to a next level, and they have created the Seeing AI app. And they are using this person to create it, or to have created. And this combines all kinds of cognitive services and probably some more advanced stuff. But at least the computer vision, image, speech recognition, etc., etc. And if you look at what the glasses that he is wearing, it has some speakers near his ears, and also it has a camera in the middle of his eyes. So basically he can just walk around knowing who he sees, what he sees, to be alerted whenever he is about to do something dangerous. But also, of course, you have the ability to sit down in a foreign country, have the menu, have these glasses, read it for you, automatically translate it. So yeah, at this point he is more able to do things than we are. And of course, these are beautiful examples of what you can use to do with this technology. But yeah, the useless examples are just too much fun. But I think actually these solutions were launched by Microsoft to train their own models for the whole cognitive services thing. So you have the caption.ai bot. You can send an image and it will tell you what's on it. So yeah, the caption that you see above it is an actual caption that you would get back from it, because it can recognize celebrities, right? So it knows it's Bill Gates. Celebs like me, always a good one, so you can upload your photo and see who you look like the most. And Project Murphy is actually a pretty funny one, which also takes in the bot framework. So the bot framework allows you to create bots for Facebook, not WhatsApp. a range of services, and you can just type in it. So it will have Lewis, it will have Bing image search, because what you can do is you can say, what if Satya Nadella had a beard? And it will find an image of Satya Nadella, it will find an image of a beard, it will blend it together, so it also has some Photoshop skills in there somewhere, and it will send you back the results. So you can do some pretty funny stuff with that as well. Another more recent project by someone else is the Mojifire. This is an actual Twitter account, which is basically the Mojifire here at the bottom. So that's the handle. And what it does, you can tweet a image at it, and it will extract the emotion and also where your face is, and it will map it onto an emoji, which is then put on your actual image, and it will be tweeted back at you. But more importantly, of course, there is this blog post at the bottom where he describes what is going on behind the scenes and how you can do it yourself. Like I mentioned, you can get started for free at microsoft.com/cognitive, or just dive into docs.microsoft.com yourself. And yeah, just get a Azure subscription. I think it's mandatory to enter a credit card, but like I said, for most of this stuff, you can get started for free. You have a wide variety of services, and you can do a whole bunch of requests without having to pay anything, or maybe just a few cents, so don't worry about that. My name is Gerald Versluis. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this talk. If you have some further questions, I'll be here for the rest of the day. There are some social things. I like to blog. Yeah, thank you.